Hey, how's it going, fellas? It's Zuko, and hopefully you're having a good one. So, today we're going to be unboxing some figures, though I don't really know what the theme of today's video is. It's a slightly eclectic mix of different figures where I got some of them like a week ago, and a couple I really wanted to make like separate videos on, just didn't happen for various reasons, so we're going to talk about them today. So, featured in this video is a figure that I got one hell of a bargain on, a figure where the box looks like it was crushed by a truck, perhaps an elephant, not sure, and then another figure where I was super excited to get it, but will it actually live up to the expectations? Probably not, because I set them kind of high, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's slightly nuanced, but for now, I actually want to start talking about the one Nendoroid I bought for the month. I don't know if you guys are still collecting Nendos. I know some of you definitely are. However, I've been a little slow on that. Just haven't really been buying them too much lately. So right here, we have Dorothy Hayes from Valhalla. And you know what? Might as well bring Jill here too, because if you like one, you probably like both. Jill actually became kind of difficult to find. I don't know if I would say rare, but she definitely went up in price. And I'm expecting Dorothy will have a similar fate. But yeah, let's talk about Dorothy. She is very cute. She's also a robot girl, if you didn't know. If you're looking at the B-roll right now, you might have noticed that she has joints on like the knees, the elbows, even her fingers are like slightly segmented, which is cool. Extra sculpting and lining and all that. I do appreciate it, but those aren't actually joints. They're just sculpted on, which is kind of lazy, but kind of funny at the same time. I don't really mind it, but it is kind of goofy that they went out of their way to sculpt all of this and then not add any articulation at all. But I don't think anybody was expecting that anyway, so I guess it's fine. As far as the faceplates go, there are three. You get the standard faceplate, which is cute because she has great looking eye decals. Love the color of red here. A laughing face, which is very iconic for the character. Probably my favorite, the one I'm using on display right now. And then a drunk faceplate. Also kind of doubles as an affectionate faceplate because she has heart's pupils, and her face is beet red, which is adorable. Accessories are on the lighter side. I would say the best one is the Piano Woman, which is her cocktail of choice. And then the only other thing you get is a second skirt where she's like pinching one side of it, so she's lifting it up a little bit, which is cute, but I feel like I'm never going to use this because I really like the poses she can do with her arms. Actually, there is one more accessory. Her headband has these cat ears that kind of look like onigiri with the way they're presented here, but you could actually take them off if you would like to just have like the normal headband instead. What this Nendoroid should have had, in my opinion, is a little counter, like a bar, so that you could have Jill and Dorothy like talking to each other behind the counter, but that's kind of it for like 6,000 yen. I will say the presentation on this Nendo is excellent. I think she looks a little bit better than Jill. Dorothy's cute outfit and the really nice like red paint they used just looks great. There's a little gold trim on the puffy sleeves. The heart on the back of her outfit is very cute. The sculpting of the ribbon looks great. The gradation of her hair just like very subtly so, but yeah, this is a rather nice looking Nendo. Except for the fact that they kind of just messed up her skin complexion, basically got it wrong. It's supposed to be white, like literally white. Yet it doesn't look like how it does in the game. So I don't really know what's up with that, but besides her skin complexion and besides the kind of lack of accessories, I do think this is cute enough and definitely worth the pickup if you like Valhalla. Though if you do like that game, you probably own this already, you know that this will likely become a little hard to find down the line, so I don't really know who I'm making this review for. But if you're seeing this for the first time, then I guess it's for you. Alright, so here, I don't know if anybody expected me to buy this. Kind of big box. Let me put it over here. This is Marth from Fire Emblem. I never really talk about Fire Emblem. I'm not the biggest fan or anything, but I do look out for these figures. I do like what they've done with this series overall, and I'm very jealous as a Xenoblade fan who only gets a figure every couple of years. There's like 3 every year for Fire Emblem or something like that. Might be slowing down though. Either way, I got this for 80 bucks. This was a pretty popular release. Yet, I feel like just as many people do not like this figure, and they definitely overproduced it. Let me go grab Marth. He's over there, clearly not in this box. Okay, I think this is good. Kind of forgot what I was saying. Let me talk about this box. I hate these boxes. They're so boring. In fact, I'm going to just do this now so I could get this out of the way. It's so big. But for something as, like, prolific as Fire Emblem, so beloved by its fans, it gets this super boring white box with a couple of images of, like, the art and the figure itself. I don't know, the presentation on this one is just not impressive at all. Thankfully, it's just the box. But, yeah, not gonna worry about that right now. So, I got that figure for like 80 bucks. I honestly do not remember where I bought it from. I would have to double check, but I bought it for Black Friday. I was going to make a Black Friday video alongside Anzu and Karari from the Idolmaster, though that got its own separate video. Either way, we got Marth here. Not the only Fire Emblem figure that I own. Unfortunately, Lyn is in her box somewhere, deep in that closet off to the side that you can't see, but I do like that figure, though it did have a couple of quality control issues. So while that figure was definitely positively received, it did make people a little bit worried about the future of the Fire Emblem figures now being worked on exclusively by Intelligent Systems. I will say though, I think Marth looks so much better. But the reason that people didn't love this, or like half the fan base I guess didn't really love this figure, is because of his face. He looks a little bit too feminine for some people, which I get, because this is not like the Marth I'm used to. As a Smash Brothers player, that Marth design, that model, just is like how I remember this character. So when I saw this figure, I was like, I get it, Marth is very pretty, but maybe not like what I would have asked for. But outside of his face, which I actually don't think is bad at all, it's just a different style, I think this figure looks phenomenal, and the fact that I got it for like 80 bucks shipped, it just blows my mind. Now, I will say that his pose is a bit precarious because it feels like he's going to lean over. There isn't a metal pole or a rod sticking into his foot. It's a really large, like, plastic chunk that you stick into these stones, and it was very tight to get in there, and the figure doesn't wobble at all, so that's great. Though one has to wonder, since this is a slightly heavy figure, definitely not overboard or anything, will he lean over time? But the pose on its own looks super sick, very heroic feeling, super dynamic, has this like dignified look to it. But the way the clothing is sculpted really drives that point home. The flow, the billowing of the cape especially, whether you look at the cape from the front or the back, I think it looks outstanding. The shading, the color choices, just all those creases and folds. This figure just has such a presence, and I think that's even further enhanced by all the gold and shiny metallic paints throughout, like, his sword, his shield. Oh my god, his shield looks so good, and it's such a shame because he's holding it in a way where you're only going to see it from the side, but it's got all these colorful jewels adorning it, and there's a pattern of a griffin as the main design, and he's clawing at some of the gems, a dragon crest on top of that. I think it looks sick. His sheath has a nice decorative look to it, the sword he wields, the Falchion, looks awesome, just a great weapon set here. A lot of belts on this guy, specifically around his waist of course, but they do look good. The brown paint is very clean, same goes for the boots, they're sculpted really nicely. There's like 3 different shades of blue between his hair and the cape and the outfit, maybe even like a 4th blue for the metallic blue of the plating by his chest. And his base is pretty cool too, not sure if they're like referencing some specific area or castle or ruins or whatever. I can't imagine wherever this is, it's like a lived-in environment because there's little grass growing in between the bricks and the stone, and it almost acts like a little riser for the figure because it lifts him up just like a couple of inches. Honestly, if I want to be really nitpicky here, the only thing I could really think to complain about within this figure is his hair sculpt. While it still looks very good, I feel like they could have emphasized like the movement of like the hair strands to maybe go alongside this pose with the wind blowing and the body movement and all of that. I feel like it looks maybe a little bit too static for like, you know, how much movement is going on. So yeah, kind of an amazing figure, and I was not expecting that. Though I do feel like at some point this probably will become desirable unless they make another one of him. Just because it's Marth, you know? Like even if this figure didn't really like wow everybody, it's still one of the most iconic characters from the franchise who doesn't really have any other figures besides the Marth amiibo, and we all know how that one turned out. I don't think there's that much of a competition there, but you know, that there's a little bit of charm to that goofy Marth amiibo. I kind of like it, but yeah, color me impressed. Alright, we're back with our next figure. This is Daiwa Scarlet, a figure I've had for quite a while now, but I did not talk about it. I'm not sure if this is like showing on camera, but this box is pretty fucked up, and I was very upset about that when I got it in the mail from UPS. I hate UPS. Every time I order from them, just something is damaged. Thankfully, Daiwa Scarlet was mostly unharmed, though at first I thought she was perfectly fine, but the golden buttons on like the outfit actually popped out, at least one or two of them, and I did not notice that until like a day ago. And when I like looked at her, I put her on my desk, and I'm like, where are the buttons? I was like, is this how the figure looks? So I opened back the blister, and there's like these little tiny golden buttons down there, very easily losable. In fact, I was trying to put them back in, and I dropped them on my carpet. Took me like 10 minutes. I thought they were gone forever. It's very difficult to find anything because the carpet is just so thick in this room. So I definitely wasn't expecting Daiwa Scarlet to be taller than Marth. They're both 1/7 scales, but she looks clearly bigger. Now granted, Marth is kind of like jumping to the side a little bit, not standing up straight, but even just like comparing the head size, she has such a massive dome. Like, I don't know, she looks more like a 1/6 scale to me, but frankly, I'm not exactly sure about her canonical height. So hey, maybe she is just this big. She is a racing horse girl after all. Pretty busty one at that. Probably one of the more bustier horse girls. And her thighs are so thick, very strong looking. Not like suggestive or anything, she just has like tree trunks for legs, and I do honestly like that if I'm being honest. Daiwa's uniform is called the Top of Blue, from what I've read online. Very regal and militarian in design. I really do like her look overall. It's an interesting mix, because you got that militarian stuff with the braided shoulder cord off to the side, but then she's also got a tiara, some very fluffy blue hairbands, a really pretty ribbon, painted in a dark metallic red. There's a little layering to her uniform, like her skirt has 2 layers to it, a lot of ruffling, a lot of creases, a very subtle hint of sway, like you could see there's some very subtle movement that just adds to that, like, hint of dynamism that's very much appreciated, because she really is just standing there. But the skirt, alongside with her really voluminous twin tails, do give you a sense that she is striking a pose. Her boots, though, do kind of confuse me a little bit. I'm not sure where they begin or end, because there's a couple of layers to them as well. You got the bottom portion, which are a little glossy, the white, the blue, and there's like a golden rim, some cute blue bow ties. But then like the longer area of the boot is matte paint instead, with like the blue stripes. I think they look good, but are those leggings instead? Underneath that layer is a black and gold layer with some garter belts. So I don't know, it's a little complex, but I definitely dig the look. I think her uniform is awesome. I don't think I said this earlier, but this figure is made by Max Factory, which is probably why it looks so good. The sculpting and the paint, like the shading and the gradation, is so on point. This is a high-quality Max Factory figure with very little blemishes and strong color choices. Like, the blue is so bold and the white is so clean, so the contrast is really appealing. Tons of gold accents, the trim of the skirts, the boots, and the buttons, of course. But her hair might even just be the best part. It just has this really natural look to it as it shifts from different brown tones, very bright or dark, depending on where it's located on the hair sculpt. She's also got an extremely cute face. You gotta love that little fang. Very confident expression alongside the pose where she's sticking her finger out as #1, winning the race, of course. Love the pinkish red eye color. Very, very pretty eyes. And they even bothered to define her bottom lip, which they probably didn't need to do. But I do appreciate them doing that, because I think it makes her face look a little bit better. And then there's her base, which is like her podium, designed to look like marble. Pretty convincingly so, might I add, though the base is hollow. It's not a heavy base by any means. It does have a nice gloss to it, though, and a very pretty, like, gold pattern along the rim, which I think really completes the look of the podium. Plus, like Marth, it does raise her up a little bit, and she's very stable, not a wobbler. So yeah, another excellent one for sure. Definitely makes me want to buy more of the horse girls from Uma Musume, like Raishour, Narita Bryan, who just went up for pre-order. But because this one dropped by like 8,000 yen on the aftermarket, at least the pre-owned ones, I feel like I should just wait it out. I think like 5 people on MFC have ordered Narita Bryan though, so that figure might just become obscure in the future, who knows. Okay, so final figure. Here we have from First 4 Figures, Samus Aran. But this is a PVC figure. They've made so many Metroid figures in the past, including of this design. There's a huge 1/4 scale of this Samus, and I don't have that. But they gave us another opportunity to get a PVC version. I don't know what the scale of this is. I don't think they said. I'm gonna guess 1/8, 1/7. She's pretty tall. though her size is debatable depending on the game. Something you should know about me, I love Metroid. One of my favorite franchises ever, specifically though the 2D games. In fact, I haven't really played a lot of the 3D ones, but I have replayed like Super Metroid, Fusion, Zero Mission, the AM2R fan game, and Dread so many times, countless times. I just love those games so much, so something like this was always like a, I don't know, a dream come true because I missed out on so many nice figures of her. And first 4 figures, outside of like one Max Factory figure of Zero Suit Samus, they're like the only ones making figures of her, at least officially. So I'm very glad that I got an opportunity to add something like this to my collection. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to sing this figure's praises to the ends of time because I do have a couple of issues with it. Thankfully, though, I was able to fix some of them, and what I'm talking about is that the quality control on this figure was a bit sloppy. It was very dirty when I unboxed her, which makes no sense because I just got this brand new, and it also just came out, so there's like really not much time between the production and this unboxing. Last night, I spent like 20 minutes wiping this figure down. Black smudges, some like bleeding on the panel lines, I had to clean those up. There was like a lot of dust or dirt in between her like spiky shins, knee guards, whatever those are supposed to be. And it's like, why? Why would I have to do that on a figure that I just bought? I think the paint overall just looks a little bit rougher than I was expecting, though the color choices are great. The metallic orange, red, and green are so vibrant. They have a nice luster to it. The areas that use gunmetal paint, like that dark gray, feel intentionally rough. Like when you look at them, it just feels like maybe they're supposed to have this worn down appearance to it. The elbows, the knees, the ankles, even like the beginning of her legs, right? Which I'm totally fine with. I think that actually looks good, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm done kind of nitpicking this figure or just talking about the downsides. Actually, there is one other thing I guess I have to point out. So let me bring your attention to the base, which is a screw attack symbol, which looks so goddamn cool. Love the red and silver down here, how it's kind of segmented a little bit with the lines. The S is actually jutting out of the base a little bit. That's how it's supposed to be, but I'm glad that's represented here. But yeah, there's like little nicks here and there, little like imperfections on the base too. A lot of scratches. It's like, why, dude? I just bought this. Like, why is it all scratched up? And you know, maybe I got unlucky here. That's not outside of the realm of possibilities. That can happen to like any figure. There's a bad one in the batch. And honestly, I'm pretty sure First 4 Figures is very good about replacing any like figure or statue with issues. But I don't really feel like there's something I need to replace here. I just wanted to be upfront with the issues that I found, because otherwise this wouldn't be an honest review. And I think it's very easy as like somebody who reviews anime figures to get caught up in the hype, to get excited for something that you were waiting so long to get, and then you receive it and there's a couple of issues and you kind of skirt around them, you don't really talk about them. And then it's like, what's the point of reviewing something? But it's also okay to like something with issues. It's okay to point them out. Doesn't mean you can't love the product, love the figure. And that's kind of the situation that I'm in right now. I absolutely love this, don't get me wrong. I think Samus looks awesome. This pose is iconic. The screw attack as a base is absolutely perfect. And I haven't even talked about the light up gimmick, which is probably one of the coolest things about this figure. Alright, so it's plugged in, and then all we gotta do is press this button. I think it looks awesome from where I'm sitting, but who knows with the camera. I'll get more B-roll though for you. So all throughout the armor were these green and orange translucent pieces, maybe a little too dark to like notice or really care about when the lights aren't on, but as soon as you press that switch, these areas and sections really do glow. And the figure is like 10 times better as a result. I gotta say, I really like what they did with her legs, like the way the translucent pieces are transitioning into like the suit so that it goes from green to orange. Just looks super cool. And the visor looks fantastic. One thing I did not point out about the visor is that whether the lights are on or off, you could actually see Samus's face through the visor. I don't think it's like an actual head sculpt. It's probably just like a decal or a sticker or a picture or something like that. But it's a really neat visual. You know, I never really had a strong affinity towards light up features within anime figures. It always just feels like an extra little bonus that's not really that important. But here with Samus, it almost feels like a necessity. Like you're not reaching the full potential of this figure unless you turn those lights on and like literally power her up. Just feels like something's missing. Now, thankfully, there is a spot for a battery, so you don't have to have this plugged in at all times, which makes it so much easier to actually use the light up feature within this figure. And I would have shown that off if I actually had some batteries, but I don't at the moment, so I can't really help you there, but just know that that is a feature. But yeah, Samus Aran, you make a figure of her, I'm probably gonna like it. You really have to screw up for me not to, so even if there are a couple of problems here, I don't regret my purchase. I'm still very happy with this one. Just wish, you know, it was cleaned up a little bit before I got it, and then I probably would have felt a little bit more positive going into this video. But hey, if they make more Samus figures, I'm probably going to be interested, so I hope they continue making them. But yeah, that's going to do it for our unboxing today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know which one of these were your favorite. Let me know what you guys have been buying recently. And if you would like to support the channel, just subscribe and like and leave me a comment. All that basic stuff, it really does go a long way. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys very soon for the next one. Later.